take. Tony Stark should never have been in an Iron Man suit in Iron Man 3. With Robert Downey Jr.'s upcoming return to the Marvel Universe, I wanted to take a look back at some of his earlier work. So let's start with Iron Man 3. Now, I liked the movie, but it's far from perfect. One of the biggest issues that I have with Marvel movies in general is that they never really follow through with most of what their ideas are. In this movie, that's Tony's PTSD. Now, I will give them props for adding in this serious of a concept into such a major motion picture, but then the film loses me, and I think that's because it was a Marvel movie. Tony tells us that he's never been the same since New York, where he basically Dr. Strangelove a nuclear bomb into a wormhole, then lost all power and nearly died. In the movie, he's still suffering from that experience. This manifests as like panic attacks and him saying he can't sleep, him sicking one of his remote-controlled Iron Man suits on Pepper when he's having a nightmare, and like this incessant need to tinker and make tons of other Iron Man suits. These are all great, don't get me wrong, but they missed out on the biggest one. Tony should never have been allowed to get into an Iron Man suit again. There's a reason that most people who are in car crashes take a while to get back behind the wheel. So why doesn't Tony have that problem? He should have been terrified of the dark, terrified of what might happen if he was caught inside a steel tomb like he was in New York. I know I would be, and it makes sense to me that this would happen given all of the context clues in the movie. He creates a type of armor that he can remotely pilot, basically creating a version of it where he can stay back in a well-lit area so he doesn't have to feel that claustrophobia again. I mean, later on in the current film, he's not able to use his armor because he doesn't have power. But I feel like this would have been much more powerful as a character choice. Something made out of fear. It would have given him a much more interesting arc. Now, Tony being unable to put on the Iron Man armor could have been a really beautiful metaphor for how vulnerable he was in the wake of New York. And that would have made it all the more powerful when he finally did put the armor back on at the end of the film. It would have shown us how he was able to overcome his darkness, overcome his fears, and show him getting back on a path towards healing. Now, honestly, I kind of think this was the intention, and it would have made for a really powerful and special moment if it had been allowed to play out like that. The only problem is, that's not what we got, and I think that's because the movie is called Iron Man. Disney wanted to sell action figures. Disney was like, no. He's gotta be in the Iron Man suit for most of the movie. We'll give you like 20 minutes. And I think that was a huge missed opportunity to take this movie to another level because